Hey guys, what's up? So I've finally found a build for Gatot Kaca that works really well for me. A hybrid Gatot Kaca that employs both defense and damage at the same time. With this build, I've been easily going up in the rank games. I've even got a 10 straight win. Also, I was having an easier time going one-on-one against fighters and marksmen, and I had no problem playing my role as a tank as well. Now guys, one of the problems in the rank games is players refusing to play tank, right? But that wouldn't be a problem if you're a tank user. However, as all tank players know, no matter how good of a player you are as a tank, there are times that you just can't carry the whole team. More so if your hitters can't be relied upon now. I'm not talking smack about marksman or assassin users. I know how hard it is to use and how much pressure the team puts on them. But yeah, having a complete noob playing a marksman or an assassin does happen. More so when it comes to the lower ranks. Or probably they're just having a bad game. But anyway, this means you don't have enough damage during clashes. There are times when you can see a good tank play going to waste because there isn't just enough damage output from your team. However, a tank going for damage is just not viable since you're compromising your position as a tank whenever you go for a damage item. Now, a full magic damage Gatot Kaca is strong indeed. Insane damage, right? Nothing wrong with playing a full damage Gatot Kaca. However, who will become the tank? A full damage Gatot Kaca will be nice if there is another tank in the team. I go full damage if I see a tank Shu or Balmond or any other tanks. But if there is no tanks and you're Gatot Kaca, then you have to play the role, man. This is the rank games after all. But then, we're back to square one. What if you play the tank but your hitters can't be relied upon? Then, you go for this build. Heck, go for this build even if you have pro teammates because this build just works so well for Gatot Kaca. So first off is the Curse Helmet. Now this is a good item for all tanks since the damage it does relies on the huge amount of HP the tanks have, but more so for Gatot Kaca since you really need that magic defense. Remember that Gatot Kaca's passive increases his defense the more HP he loses. That defense is insane. You can always see Gatot Kaca staying alive in clashes, even with a low HP, or being chased down by opponents who can't seem to kill him even though he only has a pinch of HP left. This is because the more HP he loses, the more defense he gets. However, it's only physical defense. Yep, just physical defense. So, get it guys? Only physical defense. His passive will be pointless against a magic attack. So we can say that he is weak against magic attacks. And that is why we have the Curse Helmet for the plus 50 magic defense. Plus it also provides 920 HP. And with Gatot Kaca, more HP is always better. Not only because he's a tank, but for his passive as well. Remember, the more HP lost, the more physical defense. And lastly, the unique passive Burning Soul. Deals 1.5% of one's max HP as magic damage per second, which means you deal more damage. You deal damage just for being in the clash, which as a tank you always are. Next is the magic shoes. Now, you really need that cooldown reduction. That 10% CD cooldown reduction is a huge help for your skills, more so for your ultimate. Now, with Gatot Kaca, it's hard to get cooldown reduction items without losing some defense. So this is as much as we can do for his cooldown reduction. Next is the Winter Tranquion, which gives plus 60 magic power, plus 50 armor, and unique passive Frozen, which says when own hero's HP drops below 30%, being hit by basic attack will lower target's movement speed by 80% and deal 50% of magic power as magic damage to that target. This effect has a 5-second cooldown. Now guys, remember what I told you about you'll always see Gatot Kaca running from opponents with a low HP and the opponents having a hard time killing him. Well, although he has a huge defense during these moments because like we said, his passive The lower his HP, the higher his defense. But if he gets chased down long enough, then he is bound to die. But this item increases your survivability during such instances because the 80% movement speed reduction will definitely save your life. Plus, you deal a 50% of your magic power as magic damage when a basic attack hits you. As a tank, you always get hit by basic attacks. Plus, as you know, your second skill forces enemies to attack you with their basic attacks. Also, the plus 60 magic power you get from the item adds to your skill damage, and the plus 50 armor helps you with your tank role. Next on the list is Immortality. Now why? Because it gives a plus 40 magic defense. And like I said guys, you need the magic defense to compensate for your weakness against those magic attacks. Also, it gives a plus 800 HP. And like we said, more HP the better because of his passive. And also, it provides resurrection. Now imagine this guys, being in the clash. The opponents finally killed you, right? It took some time because you're hard as a rock with your physical defense from your passive as well as the magic resistance you got from your items. Now you're finally dead, bruh. But with the resurrection, you get to live again. Now the opponents will have to go through all the trouble again to kill you, deal with your insane physical defense, and thus you buy more time for your teammates to kill your opponents, or in short, you get to tank a bit more. Or if you don't have any more allies around, you can try escaping. It will also be easier to escape if you have your ultimate, since you can use it as a jump to escape. Remember, you're invulnerable to opponents when you fly. Now, depending on the game, I usually buy Winter Tranquion first, but if we're at a disadvantage, then I'd go for Immortality before the Winter Tranquion. And finally, the Blade Armor, which gives plus 90 armor. Now that's huge. This item provides the biggest amount of armor out of all the defense items. Really cheap as well. Only 1,660 gold. And the main reason we got it is for the unique passive Counter Strike, which deals 25% of opponent's physical attack as physical damage to an attacker when a basic attack is received. Now, you guys probably understood it right after you saw the item. Yep, this item works hand in hand with your second skill and the Winter Tranquion. With this item, the Winter Tranquion, and your passive, you will have an easier time going against fighters and marksmen. You can even do one-on-one fights. And win. Provided, of course, that your opponent isn't extremely fed. Now, even in clashes, it's a big help because of the armor, as well as doing damage to the hitters just by getting hit. Now, on one-on-one fight, guys, be careful against carry. The counter strike for your second skill, Winter Tranquion, and Blade Armor only gets triggered by basic attacks. And carry, Insane Carry, with her ultimate depends more on the light wheels that comes with her basic attacks. So, do try to avoid her ultimate because you can only counter her basic attacks, not those light wheels. So that's it. Now, as for the others, the faster they do basic attack at you, the faster they die. Because you are basically hitting them with 3 counter strike damage coming from your 2 items and your second skill. Plus, don't forget your damage coming from the curse helmet. So, that's basically 4 damages. Plus your basic attack itself and your skill damage. Now, that's why I said this build employs both damage and defense at the same time. Even though he only has 1 actual damage item, which is the Winter Tranquion. Now, do remember guys that you need to hit them with your second skill. You can't rely on your items alone for the counter strike. They are only there to provide additional damage, but yeah, the item still helps a lot. Now, guys, for the last item. To be honest, guys, I didn't get to test the last item much since the game rarely goes that late. I guess this can be the situational item. Personally, I go for necklace of Durans if there are a lot of hitters that are using lifesteal items. The enemy marksman will hate you more for it. Or I go for Bloodthirsty King for more survivability, more HP, more defense, and the unique passive Bloodlust which regens 20% HP if you get an assist or a kill. Now, as a tank, you always get an assist, so that's a huge help. Now, go for an item that you think will benefit you the most in your current situation. And I think that's it, guys. Hope you found that informative. And good luck with the ranked games. Thanks.
You have slain an enemy.
Legend.
Your team destroyed a turret. Spree. Shut down. An ally has slain Thor. You have slain an enemy. An enemy has been slain. Our turret has been destroyed. Initiate retreat. Double kill. Request backup.
We are unity in diversity.
You have slain an enemy. Shut down. Launch attack. Double kill.